Okay. So welcome everyone to our September Tech Bite. It is practically October and I can't believe it. We are about to enter Q4. Um, Now, if you've been following along the last couple sessions, we've been diving into Harmony SASE, right? And we did the internet access piece first. And then last month, instead of diving into the private access side of the product, we went ahead and we did a session, which was a whiteboard session, which was cool for me because it was first time doing one, or first one doing one on a Zoom. We did a whiteboard session about like what is zero trust network access? Why do we need it? What are the concerns and the perks and the pros and the cons and all that? So both of those are good ones. If you want to get that backstory, feel free to check them out. Um, Today, we're going to do the other half of Harmony SASE, which is the private access. So you can see my screen. I have the Infinity portal up, as we all are probably pretty familiar with at this point. You can manage Harmony SASE by simply clicking on the little button here, moving over to SASE under the Harmony banner there, and you'll arrive here at this dashboard. I'm diving right in here. I want to show you the things that are important to the private access, right? So first off, networks, right? We have to create a network in here, or many networks, to control the zero trust network access, right? To allow certain people to access it, to deny any others, right? So first thing we do is we create a network, and I'll show you how it's pretty simple to do so. You simply go ahead and you give it a name, could be any name. You select the region that the network will lie in, and you select a subnet, right? If you want it to be up and running as soon as it's live, you click this little button here. When you hit create network, it takes about 10 minutes to do. So I'm not going to do that right now. But what you end up with is this network here. And it gives you your gateways, and you set up a tunnel as an object, right? So that you can have this tunnel from one network to another, or from this network to the gateway, right? Um, you'll notice the other thing that it has listed here is firewall rules, right? We can view rules. So on this network, I've set up my firewall rules, and you can also get here from going to private access on the left and firewall. And it actually expanded this for me, right? So I have one that's like an internet one. So it's kind of in a way like redundant, but you could block social media sites. And I went ahead and I made a specific website to block, right? And I went ahead and enabled that one. Um, Important rule to have. There's a cleanup rule that denies anything, right? So you need a rule above that allows a certain a set of users, a specific user, or in this case, I have a group, right? And it's simple enough. I'm actually going to start a brand new rule. It's simple enough. You just click add rule, you give it a name, you choose whether it's going to be allow or deny, you choose your source, which can be groups or members, it can be from specific networks or IP addresses. And then you choose your destination, right? Again, could be to a group or member, or to a specific address, or uh, a subnet, right? And actually, you can even see I have a bunch stored in here already, like some Azure internals and uh, LinkedIn address and all this other stuff. And then you must make sure that this is enabled, right? If you uncheck this, the rule is disabled, right? So simple enough, and I have a simple enough policy here, right? Really just allowing the user to that network. Now, that's the network part, right? And it's fairly straightforward. You create a network or networks in here, and you allow or deny access based on the firewall rules. We also can control access to applications, which is, a critical part of the zero trust network architecture, right? So literally we can add an application, right? And, we give it a name, and this is the most important box. And I always tell people go here first. Pick your protocol. What kind of application are we controlling access to? And dependent on which type you choose here, which protocol you choose here, it gives you different options. So you see like the options change when I click SSH, or if I click RDP, there's more options, right? So you'll see that, it'll change and set you up to set up this app, right? So literally what you do once you choose your protocol is you give it a name. You could change your icon if you wish, right? You could actually use a picture that's on your hard drive, right, or whatever. You put your application's host name, you put the network, you could create a network object, set a few settings that you'll allow or not allow in Windows or in RDP, right? And we could even do authentication to directly add the user right into it, right? So they just click the tile and it lets them in. Set who can get it, right? So specific users, a group, all the users, right? Like you see, here's specific users here, right? So we could choose just one person, or we could do a group or everybody. And then I'll show you in just a second. I'm moving there next, but you can add it directly to an application policy here, or you could do it on the next page that we're going to go to. Now you would click apply, of course. I'm going to cancel this. So you'll get a application added where you can click it and learn about it here. Oops, I middle clicked. Let's try again. There you go. Oh. Oh, I know what it's doing. I got it. Okay. So you actually have to click edit to view it, right? Edit. Clicking it like that actually launches it. And you can see like, here's my app that I created, right? So we could set a policy around these applications, again, to zero trust, right? Deny everybody, but allow only the things we want, right? And so I actually set a rule for that app, which is like for specifically, I wanted to see it deny people. So I set like 2 countries, right? It only allows when you're in both of these countries, which is like impossible, right? You can't be in 2 countries at once. So this will always fail. I set that up purposely. But what you would probably do is have one here, right, and pick your country, right? The other thing we do, which is important, is our posture check. So you can set up to, let's do it here, because I actually have an empty one. You can set up here to where you check any user or any group, right? The posture of their device, right? And you could do it just once, like when they're connecting, or you could do it every 20 minutes, every 40 minutes, every 60 minutes. And literally what you do is you add an OS profile. So let's add a new Windows one, right? And we choose whichever type of rule, right? We can see if it has the endpoint security client you need, if it has a encryption, if it has a specific file or a specific process is running, so on and so forth. You see there's a lot of different ways to do it. The OS version is another good one. And literally what you do is you, for example, file exists, pop in a path to a file, right? You could have multiple rules, right? You got multiple rules. But you go ahead and you add that and you can apply it. And I'm actually going to apply it for this one, I think. And there you go. Our posture profile has been updated. And it's going to check when you sign in. It's going to check every 20 minutes. So we've set a bunch of rules around who can access these things, right? So let's check it out. Let's see it in action, right? So over here, I set up that rule, right? Now, what should happen is I should be non-compliant, right? And you see I got the P81 or Harmony SASE client here that's installed on this machine. It's already running the secure web gateway, the internet access half. It's already running. But to get to the private access, we have to sign in, right? Because it needs to know our group, our role, etc. So you click it, it gives you this login prompt. You go ahead and log in, which is this one. See if I know my password. Yes. So it goes to launch SASE. Now you'll see it starting to sign in, right? But we failed that posture check that I just set up, right? We are unable to access in accordance with administrator directives, and please get this out of the way. Please contact our admin, right? And if we go back to the client, we'll see it, right? That we failed the posture check. Okay. Now I'm going to go back. And I'm going to get rid of that posture check we just put in. So we've already seen that at work. Get this out of here. Apply. Always got to apply. That's been updated. So now we should be able to go ahead and fire that client up one more time and sign into private access. And the client will start to connect. Takes just a second. And it's connected. So I'm logged in now, right? And I'm not actually connected to a network yet, right? I'm going to do that in a minute. I'm doing it I'm purposely not doing it yet. You can set it to auto connect, but this is purposely done to not auto connect, and I'll show you why. My posture check is inactive, right? Because I took the teeth out of that posture check you saw before it failed, right? But if I had one on and I was compliant, it would be a green little dot here that say compliant, right? Okay, so while the client is signed in, again, I am not on any of the private networks, right? I'm not connected to them yet. So what you'll see is when I go to start up a RDP session directly with that machine, with the other machine in my environment, it sits there and spins and won't connect. Hopefully it won't spin too long because I don't want to sit here and waste everybody's time. There we go. So I can't connect to the internal machine. That's an internal machine. I can't connect to it because I'm not signed into the network. If I go ahead and connect to the network and it's connecting, I'm connected. And it even gives me my public IP there and all this good stuff. So let's try again. We're going to log into this internal RDP unit machine. You see right away it fired up, and let's see if I know my password. Yes, I do. And here it comes. As you can see, I'm on a second computer now. This is the internal one, right? It's get rid of this. Zoom things in my way. It's this internal address, this 172 address, right? So here we are on this internal machine. Now, I know you say, okay, cool, Joe. So we see that with the client, you can sign in, you can access things remotely, but what about unmanaged machines and contractors or people that are using their BYOD device? How do I get them in, right? I can't install a client on their machine. That's an excellent question, right? So I'm going to show you right now how that's going to work. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to sign out, disconnect from the network, right? As a matter of fact, we'll sign the whole client out, right? Sign the whole client out. This way we know that it's totally disconnected, right? So we're disconnected. Minimize that for 1 second. In our application here, we can get the link to the landing page, right? I'm going to copy this link. You would send it out to a contractor or and give them their credentials or whatever, right? But literally, we can fire up this page. Let's start with a brand new browser session before in case something's signed in here. Close that. Open Edge back up. We're gonna paste this address that the admin's gonna give to the contractor or the person that's using BYOD. Prompts them to sign in. So they do so. And they come to a landing page. And only the apps which were authorized for this user, Joe Ruppel in this case, are presented, right? Now, I have two apps here, as you can see, right? The first one is this one I made up, and I made a posture check, a condition check on this app, which should fail. That was that one where we saw where I had to be in Afghanistan, and obviously I'm not in Afghanistan, so this location is not available. Can't get in here, right? So that's that first one, right? So now the second one is the legit RDP I set up, which when we click it, authorizes for a second, and then lets me into that same remote machine. This is the same machine with that purple background we just saw a second ago. The Edge RDP isn't as flashy as the regular RDP client. But again, we can come in here as a contractor or as a user on their BYOD, can get our work done, access whatever we got to access, and get out, right? And last thing I'll show you before we stop is back here, the admin can see all this in the logs, right? We can see if anybody's active, which there aren't because I disconnected from the client, if you'll recall. We can see all these sign-ins, right? When I started that new application, right? When I connected to that other one, when I failed to connect to that other one, right? When I wasn't in Afghanistan, we could see where I logged into P81 and so on and so forth. You could see all these different actions, right? We could also see our admin level activity, right? Like you see, this is where just a moment ago I updated that device posture management, right? Remember, I deleted the rule out of there so I could sign into the client. So that's that action right there. So lastly, you can see all your objects and stuff in here. So if you had addresses and URLs and services and stuff, you can see them in here. So I think that, and I know I came super fast on this, which wasn't my intention, but I just, there's so much in here I wanted to share and show. Do we have any questions?
None here.
Awesome. All right. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me, shoot me an email, what have you. Because I know after a session is right after it ends is when I come up with my questions. Thank you everybody for checking out our TechByte this month. Most likely we'll be coming with a different topic than Harmony SASE next month. So keep an eye out for that. And of course, we'll see you on the YouTube channel. So thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.